Wait, why did you like start us and then end it? You
I
started
don't
the
know. It
countdown.
like the video didn't start for some reason, so I had to like double click on it. So that's why.
Oh no, it went live.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it went live at like 27.
Oh, okay.
Like 27 in the countdown. So for you podcast listeners, that's why you're hearing that elevator music for longer than the customary 30 seconds. Did you already tweet the link out?
Yeah, the link's up.
Why is this shit not showing up on my Twitch yet? Hold on, gang. We're trying to cheat the system here. Wait, is this shit showing a fucking replay video? There we go.
That should be on Twitch. Yeah.
Nah, I had my Twitch on Android acting stupid. Anyway, we're here. Politics as usual, episode 37, the Sean Alexander episode. Yeah. So we thought we were going to be talking about this 2 damn weeks ago. Because for whatever reason, Linkin Park and the powers that be over at Warner Brothers decided that they were going to release the 20th anniversary edition and all this other shit, all this memorabilia, talking about it 2 weeks before the actual 20th anniversary.
Right.
Why? Who the fuck knows? But yeah, when did the album officially drop?
So it would have been October 23rd, 2000, right?
No, it's tomorrow, October 24th.
October 24th, right? That's right. Okay.
So tomorrow, the album officially turns 20 years old. Wild to think about.
Yeah, I am old, man.
Yeah. I actually, besides the singles, did not really get into listening to Linkin Park albums until like 2008. Like I was aware of who they were. Knew the shit with Jay-Z, the Fort Minor thing. Like I was aware of all that, but I had never really been like, all right, let me go listen to some Linkin Park. Until I started hanging with some people who liked Linkin Park, and so I went and started listening to Linkin Park. And I think all they had out was Hybrid Theory, Meteor, Minutes to Midnight when I started listening. And yeah, I'll let you get your take off before I start raining on the parade that is the celebration of this album.
See, first let's celebrate the album first. So you said you weren't really like outside the singles, you weren't really like in on Linkin Park like that.
Yeah,
but for me,
I wouldn't like listening to Linkin Park albums. Yeah. Like,
but for me and my, going through my black emo phase, like this is really a landmark album in my life, man. It's crazy, and it really took me back. Spinning it again today because this is the first time I listened to it all the way through in a minute, and I was like, yeah, man, this album got jams on it, and it like, and even the album cuts, like for instance, like I forgot how much I like songs like Forgotten, Runaway, stuff like that, like so yeah, it just takes me back to a time where like this album came out and everybody was on it. Like it's not a thing, and it's such a stupid thing where people say like, oh, it's white people music. Like, nah, everybody was on this album. So to have something in pop culture that like everybody can appreciate, that's rare, and I think Linkin Park really captured that. So yeah, man, this album is definitely like, when I talk about like the biggest like pop culture moments in my life, Hybrid Theory is definitely one of those.
I mean, in the end, was fucking huge. Like it
exactly.
Like in the end,
I remember when that video dropped, I was like, wow.
Yeah, which funny enough, their bassist, Dave Farrell, who goes by the name Phoenix, which I don't know why, but he actually he didn't record for most of the album because he was touring with a band called Tasty Snacks, and they didn't know if this thing that they were doing was gonna work. So he was touring with another band because he already had a touring commitment when they got their deal. And so Brad Delson, the guitarist, actually recorded a lot of the bass stuff on this. But if you go back and look, they have a stand-in playing bass. Like he's not there for the video at all, because during the recording and a lot of the promotional shit, he was on tour with a whole other band. So he wasn't around for, so a lot of the bass parts that you hear is Brad Delson playing. And I know that video specifically. He was in the Paper Cuts video.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember if he was in Crawling or One Step Closer, because I haven't seen those videos in so long. But yeah, he's actually, if you look, he's not, like, if you pull up a picture of him and then go to the bass player, it's not him. They have like one close up of the bass player during one of the choruses, but other than that, he's not there, like, at all. But yeah, man, like like I said, I remember in the end, like you couldn't escape in the end. It was every fucking way. Mm-hmm. And it's wild, like hearing, like I have like a lot of the LP Underground stuff where they like, they started releasing demos on those, like around LP Underground 8 or 9, I want to say. And so there's a demo of In the End that sounds completely different than what it, like the chorus is there. Like I think there's a couple of In the End demos that they put out. Like I think there's one with Mike singing the hook, and then there's one with Chester doing it, and then Mike has like these completely different verses. But it's funny because he talks about like this A&R dude like actually didn't want him to rap in Linkin Park at all. Like he just wanted him to be the keyboard player. Yeah, like he talks about it on the Rising Tide Fort Minor album. Like this dude like did not want him to rap. He just wanted him to be the keyboard player. But the band, and he said Chester specifically was like, no, like him rapping is what makes us us. And could you just imagine like what a monumental idiot you have to be like, hey dude, we don't want you like to rap. We just want you to play this metal band where keys don't even come through because of the distortion a lot of times. Like it's very difficult to get keys to shine through, like live or otherwise, just in the mix. Right. And you're telling this dude who's good at what he does that, because like one of the things that made Linkin Park was the vocal interplay between Chester and Mike. Like you
I was just about to say that.
Yeah, like they're not them without that. Like yes, Chester could sing, Chester could scream, but like Linkin Park isn't Linkin Park without Mike Shinoda and his rapping and his ability to kind of, him and Chester's ability to play off one another. So yeah, I hope that A&R got fired, because that was one of the dumbest. Because he said the dude was going around the office like trying to get people to say Mike's verses were whack and that they should get Chester just to sing on In the End. Like he was just walking around like, yeah, you this isn't good, right? They shouldn't have this. And people were like, what?
That is, and we're gonna give Chester his flowers, of course, because R.I.P. Chester. But yeah, if Linkin Park without Mike, and once again, this is taking nothing for Chester because Chester's dope. Like I always thought he had an amazing voice and his lyrics are amazing. But there were so many bands that were like of the same lane at that time, they would have got drowned out. So Mike brought that balance to Linkin Park, even when he would sing, or even when he would sing backup, or even when he would sing a song by himself, which came much later. Like he brought that balance to Linkin Park. So I can't imagine an iteration of Linkin Park that works without Mike. Like they complement each other so well.
Yes, and
it was to a point where it wasn't a gimmick. Like it was really like the song, like each one of these tracks on this album were like so balanced. And so yeah, that A&R is a huge idiot, and I hope he's not working anymore.
Yeah, like even all the bands that like have come after Linkin Park that have tried to recapture what they are, like you haven't really seen anything like them since. Because like even though Mike's not the greatest rapper, like he studied hip hop, so he raps well enough, and he's classically trained on piano, so you got somebody who can rap, sing, play keys, and play guitar, like, and he can run and do any of those at any given time, and like that really just helps out their sound. And then like the other thing is like Chester with his screaming, there's a clarity there that's not with like some of the other bands that I've heard that do the screaming, where it's just like Chester, you kind of understood him, and his screaming was, I guess, a little bit more palatable to the ear because he wasn't screaming in such a low register. He was screaming in a higher register that I think made it more palatable to cross over, because even like the low key scream he does on the bridge of In the End, like when you get to the end, after the piano riff goes through the bridge the first time, and then he like tilts it up in his vocals, like them being able to leverage that like made it possible for this album to cross over and be as big as it did. Because again, like most people, when they start hearing screaming, especially that low guttural screaming, they immediately get turned off by it. For whatever reason, there's just not a lot of people who enjoy that, except for the extreme metal fans, and that like I think made it work for their crossover appeal. Because somebody like Jay-Z's probably not getting on if they're doing like the dark, super dark black metal, death metal, screaming shit. Jay-Z's probably staying far the fuck away from that, but they were they were just close enough to that line that Jay-Z could be like, oh, this is crossover, but it was still safe and it was still mainstream. So I mean, yeah, didn't this album go diamond or something absurd like that?
Yeah, it's
12 times platinum.
Mm-hmm.
So diamond, and 2 times platinum.
Mm-hmm. I was one of them. I may have bought it twice if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, just a huge album. And like you said, much to your point, this really ushered in like kind of a new metal period. A lot of people. So this album came. It was called. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So this album came out in year 2000, and from that, like you would get a lot of bands like Incubus, a lot of bands like Brand New, a lot of bands that had similar. Because to me, Incubus, like if you listen to their first album, I think Science, it's what Linkin Park was trying to do, but then they mellowed it out a bit because it was like perfect example. It was Linkin Park without a mic, but then they mellowed their sound out and blended it just right. But yeah, this album really launched an entire new metal movement. So I think people need to realize that, and that's why it's forever like just like yeah, it's historic. Really, it is.
Yeah, like I'll give you an example of this. The band Issues, their early work is very clearly inspired by Linkin Park. Like in the original lineup of the band, there's this producer who goes by the name Lo-Fi now, who's with the R&B group Radiant Children. He actually produced something on Xavier Omar's album today, which is actually really good. If you haven't listened to that, go listen to it. But he was the keyboardist and DJ for it. So like on their first EP, he has like a scratching track, kind of like Mr. Han had. And they had the screamer, but they didn't have a rapper, they had a singer. So they they again like tried to do that very same thing. Like their early stuff is very reminiscent of Linkin Park. Like that spawned just a whole generation of musicians who are still out there trying to capture the sound that Linkin Park created. Meanwhile, Linkin Park hasn't been back to that sound since.
Right.
Like
still chasing something that came out 20 years ago and they abandoned the sound. Yeah.
Which this is a pretty good segue. So I've said for a little bit, like I do like Hybrid Theory, like don't get me wrong, but there are people who think it's Linkin Park's best album, and I say no, it's not. It's not even their second best album to me.
I agree with half of that, but get into your point.
So Meteora to me is better than Hybrid Theory. Meteora is the album that came out directly after Hybrid Theory, and it's the perfected version of Hybrid Theory. Like, and so when I talk about like they haven't gone back to that sound since. They made Meteora a year or two after they made Hybrid Theory. Meteora
came out 3 years after.
3 years, yeah. Meteora didn't get nearly the response Hybrid Theory got, and they haven't been back to that sound since. Because knowing them, like number one, I've watched enough interviews and seen enough stuff where Mike talks, because Mike is the one who typically comes up with their demos, and then they kind of take their own parts and do whatever with it. He said numerous times that they do not like going back to that metal sound. Like anytime Mike has something like that, they're usually like, yeah, nah, like let's get away from that. And I think for them as musicians, they're like, look, man, we've been there, we've done that. We made the follow-up better than the original, and y'all just wasn't as big. So why would we go back and to further that point, their follow-up to Meteora was a boring rock album. It was Kendrick's Damn, basically. It was a contemporary rock produced by Rick Rubin.
Produced by Rick Rubin.
And it's the one that has the least amount of mic raps on it. But it's a contemporary rock album that came out in 2007. Like they were like, all right, so you guys didn't like us upping the ante with Meteora, so fuck it, we'll just go the complete opposite direction. And they've just been getting further and further away from that sound, to the point that their last album is basically just a pop electronica album.
I haven't listened to the
One More Light.
Album.
No, One More Light's actually not bad, minus the Skepta verse on there. He starts rapping after Pusha T, and I'm like, all right, next. Like I don't want to hear no British.
Skepta fire, man.
He might be fire on his own, but you can't come on a track rapping after Mike and Pusha T and expect me to want to listen to that. It's one of the few Pusha T verses without coke. Without coke is a subject.
What's he rapping about then?
Hold on, let me pull the song. What is the song called? I think it's called "Good Goodbye."
Yeah, and Joe and Joe.
No, it's not Skepta, it's Stormzy. Either way, one of the British cats.
Stormzy fire too, but yeah, and Joe said to that point, Meteoric, they've been doing that sound for 10 years, so they're tired of it. Yeah, I remember. So I remember the gap in between, Meteora and Menace to Midnight. They took a break, and they said those dreaded, and they said those dreaded words that every artist and band says before they drop a dud. They're like, "Yeah, we're trying to discover a new sound. We're bringing in Rick Rubin." I was like, "No." I mean, I got it. I got it because you got to understand, like 2003 to 2007. That's not a long time, on paper, but like the sound of rock, the landscape of rock changed so much during that time. Like it shifted. So yeah, I do understand that they're like, okay, we got to find a more grown-up sound, but surprisingly, I agree with you. Meteora to me is their best album, because if you want to talk about like a moment, how do you capture this great cultural moment with Hybrid Theory, then come back and make a better album? Like, and we talked about when that In the End video dropped, but when what was that, when Faint dropped, when the Faint video dropped, I remember that was a huge moment. So yeah, I agree with you. I think Meteora is their best album. It's like if someone didn't know Linkin Park and they were like, "Hey man, what's this band about?" I would play the Meteora, because that captures that sound. Like Hybrid Theory to me is like close to perfect, especially for like a major label debut from a rock band, but it still has some of that roughness. But Meteora has like polish, but it doesn't take anything away. It's like their most like, it's like they got their formula just right. Like everything, like everybody's, on the highest of cylinders when it comes to this album. So yeah, Meteora is their best
like
album, in my opinion.
So looking at the track list so like the example I use is like we've all seen Dragon Ball Z, right? So this should be a pretty, for people who don't know who Linkin Park is, that you should understand this reference. Hybrid Theory is Kaioken, Meteor is Super Saiyan. It's basically the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Super Saiyan is just way better. Like Super Saiyan takes what Akira Toriyama tried to do with Kaioken, which is basically give Goku a power boost. His hair changes, the aura around him changes. He gets way stronger. His Kamehamehas get way better. All that. Super Saiyan came in and just ushered in a whole new wave of shit. It was like, all right, boom. So that's kind of my like reference point on that. Like Kaioken was so forgotten after Super Saiyan came out that Akira Toriyama admitted that he completely forgot about it until Dragon Ball Super and was like, oh shit, yeah, Kaioken was a thing. And combined it
like it was a thing.
He's like, oh shit, I forgot about that. Like Super Saiyan was so successful, it was like, oh, we don't ever need to go back to that again. But like looking at the track listing for Hybrid Theory, like I love Paper Cut, One Step Closer. With you is okay. With Authority, Crawling, Runaway. By Myself is okay, of course, In the End. Like that's mostly like the singles are way bigger, obviously. But like they got a few of the album cuts there. And then you get on Meteora, like, I mean, forward, whatever. Don't Stay is pretty much One Step Closer. Somewhere I Belong, fire. Lying From You, fire. Hit the Floor, fire. Easier to Run, fire. Faint, fire. Figure 09, fire. Breaking the Habit, fire. From the Inside, fire. Nobody's Listening, fire. Numb, fire. Like,
and what a great track to close on. Yeah, so like, not like I said, there is like, it's like the leanest like Linkin Park product, like no extra fat or anything. But yeah, it's amazing.
Like Numb to me is like one of their best, because it's just like there's so much of everything there. And like I think one of the undersold things about like Linkin Park, one of the reasons why they kind of hesitate towards, like they've always said they're an electronica band. Not necessarily a rock band, because like Brad Delson always says, he's like, look, man, I play my guitar more like a keyboard, and that really shines through on this album. Like Easier to Run, definitely. Breaking the Habit, like there's no distortion on that at all. Numb, same thing. Like even when he's playing in the higher registers on In the End, he's basically just playing the same 5 notes that make up the piano. With the dun dun dun, he's going like he's just playing that on guitar at a higher register, but it sounds closer to a keyboard. And that's what I mean. Like everything they tried to do on Hybrid Theory is taken to its apex on Meteora, and that to me is just like come on, guys. Like we don't have to now. Meteora to me is their second best album.
Oh,
so to me, their best album is the album they came out with in 2012, Living Things. It takes everything you love up to that point about Linkin Park and puts it into one album. It has the wall of sound that is Hybrid Theory and Meteora. It has the melodicness of Minutes to Midnight, and it has the experimental electronica of 1,000 Suns. And that's
I'm gonna keep it real. I've never listened to that album.
Listen to I know this song because it's one of my favorite Linkin Park songs, but I'm drawing a fucking blank.
But yeah, while you do that, shout out to our comment. I wanted to comment on a debate last night. I live in Australia. Well, even if you aren't well versed in American politics, thanks for watching this. So shout out to you.
Yes, Lost in the Echo.
Okay.
Lost in the Echo was like it has like that big ass wall of sound that you're expecting from like if you listen to Hybrid Theory and Meteor, but like Mike's rapping is phenomenal. The interplay with him and Chester, they've got like a breakdown that is like Johan scratching Chester screams, like they sampled Chester screams from right before that, and then they're scratching it out in that. Like it's amazing. It's one of the best Linkin Park records. Like if I'm ranking their albums, and let me pull them all up in front of me, just so I can.
I'm interested to hear what you got to say about this one.
So, all right, Living Things, Meteora, Hybrid Theory, Minutes to Midnight, 1,000 Suns, One More Light, The Hunting Party. The Hunting Party is one of the worst albums I've ever heard. It's so fucking terrible. Ooh. The Hunting Party is essentially, they said about that album, they wanted to go back to their influences pre-Hybrid Theory. So they tried to make like a 90s rock album, and that shit is awful. Like they have Rakim on a song, and like when I first saw it, I was like, ooh, Rakim, Linkin Park. And I listened to it, I was like, oh, this is ass. Like, like this is fucking terrible. Like The Hunting Party has one song that I listen to on it, and that one is All for Nothing. I love that song. But other than that, and they have Tom Morello's on there, Paige Hamilton's on there. Like, they have hold on, let me pull this album. Yeah, so they got Tom Morello, Rakim, System of a Down's Darian Malakian, Helmet's Paige Hamilton. Like they went and got like rock legends to work with.
Like on paper, that should be fire. So that's disappointing.
It's ass. Oh, like I listened to that album one time through, and I was like, "What the fuck is this shit?" And then their last album was basically just an electronica pop record.
Okay.
And yeah,
see, but I was about to say a lot of bands from that era, and once again, I mentioned like Brand New, and then like not similar, not totally similar, but bands like Taking Back Sunday, Jimmy World. Like I said, not same lane, but they were out in the they were like in between, kind of like alternative, but they clearly had like rock influences. Yeah. They've been trying hard to find like the perfect balance. A few of them have, but I knew it would be hard for a band like, and I thought this back then. I was like, yeah, man, Linkin Park is dope, but are they still going to be dope, years from now? Because that sound is so distinct and so crazy. Like it's almost not sustainable.
No, it's not. Like you look at kind of like what they like. There's a reason. Like I'm not mad at them for reinventing themselves. They've never done the same thing twice in a row since the first two albums. I mean, Menace to Midnight, contemporary rock album. A Thousand Suns, basically an electronic album with some rock shit mixed in. Although like there's some bangers on there. I just hate. They wanted to release it as one long track, and apparently they wanted to do their own Kid A. Which when I saw that, I was like, oh, this album isn't going to be great. It's still okay though. That's electronica. Living Things is kind of like everything they had done up to that point mashed together. The Hunting Party is a straight up 90s rock album, and then One More Light is electronica pop album. Like I'm not mad at the fact that basically every album since then they've been like, all right, because like they've done their side projects. Like Chester had Dead by Sunrise, Mike had Fort Minor, which had varying degrees of success. Him and Brad Delson started a record company together. Johan scores movies and does shit like that. I think he directed a fucking movie at one point in time.
Yeah, he did.
Rob Borden, I think, is a music instructor at like USC or some shit. Either him or Brad is like, so like they all have their own little side projects and shit that they do. Like they pretty much like they're a legacy act. Like they. I'll like go watch some of their live shows sometimes on YouTube, and they're in fucking arenas with tens of thousands of people.
Yes,
like, knowing every fucking word to their songs. Like they submitted their place just off of this one album. Like, and that's why they play so much stuff off of Hybrid Theory because the singles were fucking massive.
Man, and this album, Hybrid Theory, had like what 4 or 5 singles because I think they came out. Yeah, because they kept because I feel like the Paper Cut video was like footage from like the tour, right? Because the album
Paper Cut was the one where they were sitting in the room. They were sitting in a room, and there was like this monster going through that nobody like, and everyone had like their instruments. It's a really weird video.
One of these videos had like a version that was just like tour footage because. They initially released like I think 2 singles leading up to the album's release, and then the album like got so big they just like, okay, we just gonna keep putting this out.
Hold on, I'm trying to see.
Yeah, there's one video that's like tour footage. I can't think of like which one it is right now.
Off of Hybrid Theory?
Yeah,
it's not One Step Closer or Paper Cut.
Because maybe it was like exclusive to like MTV too, but I remember seeing it like all the time. I don't think I'm conflating this with.
Oh no! It's Points of Authority.
Okay. I knew I wasn't tripping. Yeah.
No, because I remember like Paper Cuts was like the weird horror thing. In the end, was them like on that cliff with the fucking whale floating in the sky, and fucking One Step Closer was like them with the ninjas and shit. Mike had like the red hair, and yeah, like because I remember like, and I think Crawling was closer to like the Numb video. I want to say, because like I like all their videos are like really, really like distinct. Like that's another thing that they probably don't get a ton of credit for is they actually do some like Breaking the Habit is a fucking anime video.
Yeah. Like I was just about to say. I was just about to say that like we can't ignore the influence they had in just pop culture like in general because like they're like pictures of like Gundams and stuff on their album covers. They like ninjas and stuff. So yeah, they leaned heavily into like that anime subculture that was rising at the same time. So yeah, I think that's why a lot of people got into that because now I'm thinking about like Bradford running through the halls, the anime men on his shirt. But anyway, no, seriously, it was like that, like because we were all into anime, but then you see this album cover that has like a ninja looking guy with graffiti or whatever, and it's like, okay, I want to get into this. I want to see what it's about.
Yeah, like Hybrid Theory is a soldier with butterfly wings. and then the reanimation cover is a Gundam. Like they had so much like just crazy, and I give a lot of credit to Mike for that, because he's the artist and the graffiti guy and the drawer, and he went to art school and shit. Like I think he said he was in art school while they were trying to get the record deal, and back when the band was Zero, and they were working on getting doing the demos for Hybrid Theory and shit. So like he does a lot of the art direction. Like it's like they had a lot of and also I think lost on people is like people don't realize that like Mike's half Japanese.
Yep.
So like he probably grew up with all that shit like in his house. Like it probably wasn't foreign to him to be watching like anime and old Japanese samurai flicks and shit. Because there's a song on The Rising Tide where he talks about his grandfather was in the concentration camps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like he was like a first generation Japanese immigrant or something to that effect. So like like they just had like the perfect confluence of shit like just kind of happened and hit them, and it influenced just so many artists. Like I mean, I as a musician I'm influenced by it. Like one of the first songs I learned on piano was the In the End. Like that's one of the first things I learned. I was like, "Ooh, I want to learn how to play this," and I learned how to play it. I was like, "Oh, that's surprisingly simple."
Yeah, man. I used to go in the band room and like just sit down at the piano. Yeah, it was
like it's and like even Numb, like the piano parts in Numb, it's 4 different notes an octave apart. Like I forget which ones they are, but like when I started learning some of his piano stuff, I was like, "Oh, that's it? That's how you made that?" Like, oh, okay, all right, cool. But like, I was more impressed by, and like, of course, you get those people. Like one thing, like me, like delving into the rock scene, like when I was in a band, was finding out how many like supposed real musicians didn't like Linkin Park, and I would just be like, why? But that shit's so simple, and I'm like, yeah, but it sells. Okay. It sells more than your riff with 12 chords in it does. So, like,
right.
Shouldn't you try that? Like,
there's a beauty in simplicity, like, and I think, right. I think Linkin Park like is the encapsulation of that. Like, they weren't like okay, I won't say they weren't. Yeah, they weren't like flashy or anything, but like I said, they were like the just the sum of like a lot of great parts and a lot of great simple parts. And sometimes you don't gotta be all what. Yeah, like. No, like maybe you should study like what makes Linkin Park so catchy and so palatable. Maybe you should study that instead of trying to be.
They do have like technical shit. Like there's songs that I've liked from them when I'm like, oh damn, like there's a song on one of the actually it's on Living Things. It's one of these 2 songs, but like I think Powerless changes like has 3 different tempos in it. Like the verse has one tempo, the chorus has another tempo, and I think the bridge has a completely different tempo. It's either that or a song called it's off one of the LP Undergrounds. I can't think of the name of it right now. But like I know Powerless at least has 2 tempo changes. Like they do shit like that. And like the guitar solo on In Pieces from Minutes to Midnight, like that was like they like Brad Delson was always like, I don't really give a fuck about doing solos. Like I'm here to make the song sound better. And they was like, nah, man, do a solo. Like people think you can't play guitar. Like throw a couple solos on this and show people that you actually are a competent and very good guitar player and you can do like the technical shit. They've done that when they wanted to. I love their drummer, by the way. Like his fills are some of my favorite fills on record. Like he perfectly like sets them up to like just to do shit. Like watching the Collision Course DVD. Jay-Z was talking about how like how he just knocks shit out. Like he comes in, knocks shit out. He's like, oh, our drummer's the only one that does that. Like we'll give him something, he'll come in, knock it out, and he'll be chilling like the rest of the process, while the rest of us are like writing 18 different parts for every single song and saying what we hate about it. His part is just the one that's just fluid, like it's just there. Like he comes in, he does it, goes on about his business. And like I don't know. I think it was just one of those things that people were popular to hate. Like something doesn't have to be technical for the shit to be great. Like we have to get out of that wrong ass mindset and understand that some shit can be simple and still be like super duper dope. Like and I want to talk because I talk about like whack rappers all the time, but I also acknowledge that there's something to be said for the fact that they are charismatic. Like I won't begrudge them for being popular. But yeah, I don't know what else there is to say about this album. It's huge. It speaks for itself. I kind of wish I'd have got one of the anniversary box sets, but I wasn't about to pay $200 for that.
Yeah, they busted heads with that, but no, I definitely think, yeah, man, this album's gonna this album's gonna live on forever, man. And like I said earlier, like we got to share our flowers because for me personally, for someone who was listening to a lot of rock at this time, like thinking of the people like oh shit, Lacey, what's his name, John Lacey from Brand New, one of my favorite bands. Listening to guys like Brendan Boyd from Incubus, who I think is an amazing singer. Like Chester Bennington is up there with those guys. Like he's like legendary to me, and I think it almost got to the point where he was underrated because Linkin Park, to some people, was simply a novelty. Like, oh, like you're only here to hear Mike rap, or you're only here to hear the scratches. But nah, man, Chester, on the songs that Chester sings on his own, like you could tell this guy is like supremely talented.
Yeah, like Numb.
Like Numb, like such a
example.
such a beautiful song. Like when I was listening to like Crawling earlier, I was like, man, like this, I forgot how hard this song hits, man.
Have you ever heard the live version with Chris Cornell singing with Chester?
Yeah.
Yeah. But now like Chester's voice doesn't get enough credit. Like you could even their acoustic, some of the acoustic songs that they have with him. Hold on. The Little Things Give You Away on Minutes to Midnight. Is there one on 1,000 Suns? The Messenger on 1,000 Suns, and then I'm pretty sure there's not one on Living Things, but yeah, like there's a they have a they used to do, him and Mike used to do a version of like during intermission on the shows, they used to do an acoustic version of one of those Adele songs. What's one of the big Adele?
Like Rolling in the Deep.
Rolling in the Deep, yeah. Like Mike would break out the acoustic guitar and Chester would sing it. Like they would do that on stage while the rest of the band was getting a break. And like people like really like act like Chester's just like a screamer. Like, nah, there's even if his voice, even if he didn't have like the biggest vocal range, like there was a sincerity and a vulnerability in his voice that I think drew a lot of people in. Particularly when he wasn't screaming. Like on their last album, One More Light is one of my favorite songs by him. And that's just Chester over an acoustic guitar. And it like the first time I heard it, I got goosebumps because obviously I listened to this. That album came out shortly before he passed. So listening to that song and what he's singing about is like, damn, like there was something there with that. Like even Breaking the Habit. Like people think like I know Mike said he wrote that about one of his friends, but like Chester couldn't perform that live because he would always tear up while singing it. And yeah, he I don't think people appreciated him enough while he was here. Like he was the lead singer of Stone Temple Pilots for a while.
Yeah.
Like for like he like put some respect on that man's name, not just because he passed, but put some respect on the fact that he was a phenomenal artist, like, and he brought a lot to the table when it came to that band. And they like the band didn't get signed or get their big break until they were introduced to Chester. Like all the rest of those guys kind of like grew up together. Like I think Joe and Mike went to the same like art school. Brad and Mike went to high school together, and I think Rob went to high school with them, and I think Brad used to be in a band with Dave. So that's how all five of them knew each other. Chester was from Arizona, and somebody from a label was like, hey, y'all need to work with him. And like they sat down with them, and they said it was like the missing piece of everything that they had needed. And that was like when the magic started to happen, was when they met him. Like this band does not exist without him. Like he changed the entire trajectory of their careers simply by agreeing to sit down with them and meeting with them, and him and Mike just instantly clicking in that chemistry, creating this amazing vocal interplay that has endured 2 entire decades later.
Yeah, like 2 decades later, man, we're still here talking about this album. So yeah, man, Chester's a legend, and I know I just said I really don't care for Minutes to Midnight, but to me, that's the album where you can see Chester trying to legitimize himself. Like, okay, I want people to see the album a serious singer. And to me, like, even though I don't like most of the album, like What I've Done is such a beautiful song. Like,
Yeah,
it's
like Mike only raps on that album twice. Like
mm-hmm.
Give It Up, all Chester. Leave Out All the Rest, all Chester. Bleed It
Mm-hmm.
Out is Mike and Chester. Shadow of the Day, all Chester. What I've Done, all Chester. Hands Held High, that's I really don't know why that song's on there, but that's Mike. No More Sorrow, all Chester. Valentine's Day, which is an underrated song by them. It's one of my favorite songs by them, all Chester. In Between, that is Mike singing solo. No, that's the song that shouldn't be on there, is In Between. In Pieces, all Chester. Little Things Give You Away, all Chester. Like he's like that's pretty much his album right there. Like he's singing on every single one of those songs except for one, and he leads the album. Like Mike takes a gigantic step back and is mostly doing background vocals, rhythm guitar, and keys on there. Like that is really Chester like giving you his vocal chops. And like there's not a lot of distortion on there. And that's why I say that's probably the album that's aged the best out of all their albums, because it's a for lack of a better term, it's a vanilla rock album. Like there's nothing special about it, but because they swung for the fences with every other project they've done, that one is like the safest. It's like Kendrick's Damn to me. It's the it's the palate cleanser of their albums. It's all right. Go listen to that if you want something like to get the like screaming and all that shit out of your ears if you're going on a Linkin Park discography binge.
True. Yeah. And like I said, I can totally understand why they, especially Mike, because I mean, of course they knew what was being said about them and how they were like a novelty or just they weren't here to stay. So I could totally understand them pushing Chester to the forefront on that album and bringing in someone like Rick Rubin. But like you said, and I think that's why I have such a strong reaction to it, because I think they went so far in the other direction and they took away the thing that made Linkin Park. It's like, you guys don't have to prove yourselves. Like, you know why we're here. We like that. But I think they went too far in the other direction, trying to create that that rock sound that they stripped away. Almost how we talk about Anderson .Paak's Oxnard.
Oh,
like when he got up with Dre, is like, yeah, you don't need to remove what makes you you. That's why we're here. But yeah, man. So but yeah, like I said, Chester's a legend to me. So
there's actually some really dope. There's a really dope version of Leave Out All the Rest, the demo version of Mike like rapping it. He like it's called Fear. It's completely different than what you hear. But like I like listening to those because you can kind of like peel back the layers and see like the type of shit. Like there's some dope shit on Minutes to Midnight that didn't make it. Like there's probably 3 or 4 songs I've heard demos of that I'm like, damn, this is better than some of the shit that was actually on the fucking album. Like, why wasn't this like added on there? But they go through a democratic process, and like I follow Mike on Twitch, and I've listened. People ask him questions, and we like, man, like a lot of times somebody be like, yo, why didn't this song make the album? And he'd be like, the band didn't like it. Like I did the demo, fought for it. We went through the stages. We did this, and for whatever reason, like he'll say like something like somebody will not like something about it, and every time he tries to go make it better, they're like, yo, that's a song with the whatever they didn't like, and it immediately is like, yeah, no, they don't like that. So like, because I think it can be easy to think because Mike handles like most of the production and he kind of drives the creative direction that like he's the one who like makes the decisions, but like he's made it clear on several occasions, like, nah, man, they'll tell me whether or not they're with something or not, and if they're not with it, then because like on 1,000 Suns, there's so much of them like not playing like guitars and shit. Like they're all on different instruments. Like Brad plays the piano on that album several times. He plays it on Waiting for the End and one other song he's playing piano on. But like their later albums, like they're not playing as like much guitar and shit. They're playing like a ton of like electronica and synths and like pre-programmed pads and shit like that. And it's really different seeing them live, like their live shows, how they look like with the later songs versus their earlier lineup where they're just constantly moving around on instruments, and it's none of them are doing the same shit that except Joe Hahn. He's still like
Yeah,
and press and pad. Him and Rob are like the two that never change. But there might be a song where the bass player is playing a fucking synth keyboard and there's no bass on stage, which is like wild. And there's like one song where Mike's playing guitar, but he's not even playing guitar. He's just playing the bottom two strings, so it makes like a string sound, like a violin sound. It's like, all right, I guess you couldn't just couldn't press the string down on the keyboard for that. You're standing on stage, literally moving a pick this much to create the string sound. It's just like why would you do? All right, okay, cool, I guess, yeah. But yeah, we talking about anything else today?
No, that's all we got. Just Hobbit Theory. Yeah, that's all. Well, that's all I had on my agenda. Have you, outside of the Xavier Omar, was there anything else that came out that caught your ear this week?
They period. They dropped an album today. It was okay. The Gorillaz dropped an album. Too many features for my liking.
Well, that's not. I mean, that's a Gorillaz album to me, so doesn't bother me.
Yeah, but I don't know. It just sounded more like a compilation album. Hold on, what else? What else came out today? I meant to listen to that Ty Dolla $ign, but just completely forgot about that.
Yeah, I haven't listened to that yet, but I mean, featuring Ty Dolla $ign, at least he knows that. At least he's in on his own joke, so that's
good. Like that's like kind of the thing I want from 2 Chainz, is like a featuring 2 Chainz album. Like I love 2 Chainz feature verses. I'm not really a fan of 2 Chainz solo records, but Xavier Omar, his shit it's really good. Also another album I revisited, Luke James album that came out in January, To Be Loved. That shit is amazing. Like I went back and listened to it again. I was like, God damn, this shit is better than.
Yeah, he's someone who should be way bigger than what he is.
Yeah, but like it's this just low key vibey album. Like there's a joint with Crit on there.
Okay,
hold on, let me find this shit. Oh shit, he dropped another album?
Like 2 in the same year?
Yeah, he dropped the album in June called The Life and Death of. Okay, now I have to go listen to this shit. It's 9 tracks. To Be Loved is 10 tracks. Okay. But yeah, there's a song called Traveling with Big Crit that is super fire. Oh, To Be Loved is 9 tracks too. Yeah, I had no idea he dropped a second album. I wonder if this is him or not. It probably is.
No, well, I'm looking at his. I don't know. I'm looking at his wiki, and I only see To Be Loved from this year, unless they just left it out.
Yeah, maybe there's another Luke James. Hold on. Let me Google this. Because this is weird. I mean, this is saying it's. Hold on, I can listen to this while I'm on it. Well, it'll record a little bit. Nah, I don't think that's him.
No, I don't think that's him.
Okay, but yeah, To Be Loved is fire. Like
okay.
If you have not listened to that, listen to it. But yeah, nah, I can't think of anything else to drop. The only other thing, we may have to wait for my brother to get back for this one, but I was joking around earlier. Somebody said something about what was Ruben Studdard sorry for 2004 about. He was like, oh, not sharing his fries with his girl. And I was like, you know what? I'd be willing to bet some of the biggest apology R&B records ever are like about some stupid shit like you ate before you went to kick it with your girl. And you know, women get
you forgot to take the chicken out the freezer,
yeah, like women get real dramatic about some shit like that.
Yeah.
And so you know, I had on bended knee, and I'm like, this sounds to me like a nigga who's apologizing to his girl for like going to eat before he went and picked her up. Like she came out in the car, and she was like, "Oh, baby, did you eat?" "Yeah, I ate before I got here." And she just looked so hurt and betrayed. And she ain't talking to him the rest of the night. Now he like, now I gotta pretend like this is a big deal because she's mad at it. And I feel
the apology has to match the outrage.
Yeah, like the apology. So I got when Wanye's like on "I'll Never Walk Again" and he's just singing his heart out. Like she was really pissed because he probably went and got some food from her favorite restaurant.
Yeah.
So yeah, we need to come up with a list of songs that we think are not about like the dude doing some like cheating or just some foul shit, but it's really just him. Like he watched the movie that she really wanted to see without her.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I saw that last weekend with Mike and them. Like, and she,
like, I can't believe you watched New York Undercover without me.
Yeah, like some shit like that. Like, you know, I had to work. Why would you like just some petty shit that women really get mad over? Because one of my followers said they was like, "Oh, you full of shit." I was like, "Y'all get mad about stupid shit like that. Y'all would definitely get mad if we ask you, do you want something from the gas station, and we come back and don't bring you nothing when you say no." Like, y'all definitely get mad at shit like that. Like, I wanted, like, because somebody said one time, I can't remember if this was true or not, but somebody said the song "Gone" by NSYNC was written while Justin Timberlake was waiting on Britney Spears to get her hair done. And then you go back and listen to the lyrics of that, and it's like, damn, he was really at home bored.
Yeah.
Like, I've been sitting here off my mind, trying my best to be a man and be strong. Yeah. I drive myself insane, wishing I could touch her face. Like, I could see someone do, like, if you visited your girl in her city, she go to get her hair done, you ain't got shit else to do. It's before the internet, for real, and before apps. And like, he might have really been at home, but like, damn, it's only but so many sports. I'm here to see you when you don't went to get your hair done. I don't know.
She don't even got dial up here. Like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah, like what? So what was Justin Timberlake supposed to do in that moment? So like, we got to go like do a hidden meaning behind R&B songs episode and be like, all right, I feel like this song was not really about this. I feel like it was about something like trivial like this shit because women do be mad enough that because Ruben Studdard definitely made that song about eating his girl's food because he said it's my sorry for 2004. Like, so it sounds like it's some shit that he does on a regular.
Yeah.
So
he was like, I gave you a sorry last year. I'm gonna have to give you a sorry in 2005. This is the one for 2004.
Yeah, like it's June. You've been pissed off. I'm just gonna go ahead and make this whole dramatic song so you know that I'm sorry for this year because I'm gonna keep eating your leftovers. Like I feel like that's how it is. Also, shout outs to our boy Robert from the Barbershop Podcast, also known as one of the members of Boyz II Men.
Yes.
I posted a video clip of Sean Stockman going in falsetto on Bended Knee. I was like, you know them niggas were sorry because they had Robert singing in falsetto. He tweeted me back and said, "You raggedy bitch." in gift form, though. He didn't actually say the word. He just did the gift of that. But all right, so if nothing comes up during the week, we'll be talking about that. Get your gear. No more.
Yes.
I just ordered this hoodie. It came in literally yesterday. Cop one. Go to the site, kidswearcrowns.com, top of the page, hit merch. Go over there. Follow us on Twitch. Once we reach 50 Twitch followers, we will be doing a drawing. And you can pick out whatever you want from our site, and we will send it to you for free.
And it's on us.
On us. You ain't gotta pay for
it. Toss that up on the screen.
Yeah. Make sure you voting. Go vote. I voted.
Oh yeah.
Last Saturday. Please vote. They said right now there have been more early votes cast in the entirety of the 2016.
Than the entirety of the 2016 election.
That is
so people.
But that doesn't mean we don't know who those votes were cast for, people.
Mm-hmm.
Hit the Retrumplicans could be just as energized as the Dems are. So please vote.
Vote like you don't know what's gonna happen because you don't know what's gonna happen.
And remember, they are confirming a new Supreme Court justice. So if this race is remotely close, you know they are going to rule in his favor. Mm-hmm. Vote like somebody else's life depends on it. Vote like your job depends on it. Vote like your health care depends on it. Vote like your children's education depends on it. Vote like in 7 years the earth won't be inhabitable if the shit keeps up, because like literally that's what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. Vote no more and no more. Wait. No more. This whole reversal thing is
yeah.
no more.
Nah, you got
No more. No
no
there we
more.
go. No more. But copy something from the site. What else we got? We're on last week's episode we're doing a mailbag episode. What is that, Sunday?
Yeah, we're doing a mailbag episode Sunday, so tune in for that. And then we're going to get into Mandalorian coverage. It's I'm excited. I've been waiting.
Yeah,
I've been waiting.
Mandalorian coverage. Witness court be extremely filthy about both Pedro Pascal and Giancarlo Esposito.
We might have to turn. We might have to implement a new mic muting feature for Courtney when she gets off the rails.
We just gotta hope. We just gotta hope her mom or her in-laws are watching so that she has to like dial it back some.
Yeah, I'm going to invite her whole family out so we can keep her in check. But yeah,
like, tag them on Facebook. Like, hey, make sure you guys are watching podcast. But yeah, Mandalorian. What else is there?
Also, before we go, there's another very, 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 very important anniversary coming up next week. And if you know me, you know this is very important to my life. I think I'm gonna do a write-up on this because I feel like what I want to say about this album, I need to write it out. So next week, October 30th, also the 20th year anniversary of Outkast's Stank On You.
Oh, okay. All right.
Major album. And to me, basically my take is that Stank On You is Outkast's most Outkast album. And I'll explain why later. So
that should drop on Halloween. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, we definitely got to make sure Fee's on for that because he's a big Outkast fan. So Joe Code, if you're watching, this is an invite for you to come on as well.
Oh yeah. We definitely gotta have Joe on for that. Yeah.
So if you're watching, feel free to come on because I know y'all can speak more to Outkast than I can. Hey man, I want my thing going.
I mean, Outkast is forever, man. So those albums have not aged.
I will say that Stankonia is probably the Outkast album that like I can listen to more than any of the other ones.
I guess.
I was
I
was there, but I wasn't there. Like I wasn't in the moment with those.
You don't have to be there. It's eternal.
It is, but I mean, if you're gonna give me one Outkast album to listen to, I'm picking Stank. Like, listen, man, hold on, man. Let's pull this up.
Oh yes, Stankonia. Like, I will say this. To me, Stankonia has Outkast's best album cuts. Because Red Velvet is one of my favorite Outkast.
I mean, so Fresh, So Clean, Miss Jackson, Bombs Over Baghdad, like that's a lot of heat from the singles aspect of things. So, yeah, we should try to extend our Doug Jones goodwill and see if we can get Bomani on because you know he's the ultimate Outkast stand.
Also, I'm forgetting like that. That's one we got to have Ryan on for because we can't do an Outkast episode without Ryan. So, we'll have him on. I mean, not an Outkast episode though. I mean, he'll never forgive us. So yeah, we'll probably have the homie Joe Code and Ryan on to talk about that.
Would he not forgive us
if it's Outkast? Yeah, if it's like.
I feel like he wouldn't forgive us if we was doing like an Open Mike Eagle episode or
Outkast. Pokemon
or Governor,
like you like
we was talking about Governor and didn't tell him. And if we did an episode about Son of Pain and didn't tell Ryan, he would appear.
He would kill us.
And the temperature.
He would kill us. Yes,
like Ryan, he would just appear in our houses out of nowhere.
Like, hey, bro, so y'all really talk about Son of Pain without me?
You would just see a puff of smoke shake like his curls with him holding one of his kids as he proceeds to punch us back in the head and then steal our seat.
So y'all really gonna talk about Son of Pain without me?
Y'all gonna talk about Son of Pain, but y'all ain't gonna call me. No, you are 1000% correct. Ryan would probably drop 1,000 diss records about us if we didn't have him on. while we were talking about Outkast. If he can come on, he's a busy man.
Yeah, right. But yeah, that's all we got for this week, man.
Yeah, next week, stay tuned. Stay on it. I won't have much to say on that one, but I'll be here. Yeah, light week for us. What anything this week on the election mini series?
We just covered the amendments that appear on Alabama's ballot as well as Georgia's. So yeah, we just broke down what those amendments mean.
I meant this upcoming week.
Oh, it is upcoming week. No special guests this week. We're in the end game now, so probably no more guests until until after the election. But the night of the election, we're going to be dropping in and out for election coverage as much as we can stand, as much as we can handle. So tune in to that. Follow us for election coverage. We'll probably have some special guests on that day as well. So just stay tuned.
Man, all I know is as soon as I get off work that night, I am staying far the fuck away from TV as humanly possible.
I feel you, man.
I'm Donnell. I'm Mario Winans. I don't want to know.
I don't want to know because yeah, we're and here's the thing. Like I wanted to say this before we get out of here too, people. Don't expect to know a clear outcome the night of the election. Not even the week after the election. Not even 2 weeks after the election.
Do not celebrate or get down until Congress certifies the election results.
Mm-hmm.
That has to happen before we do any. Do not, because Fox News is going to declare him a winner that night. Do not fall for the.
And that won't be true.
This cannot be Bush versus Gore Part 2. We cannot have that happen. Do not fall for the fucking okie doke. There are so many people that are voting absentee. There's so much litigation going on around the elections right now. They are waiting to confirm Barrett so that they can start slapping down voting rights restrictions right now. There are so many more reports upholding what states are trying to do pro-vote, and all those cases are going to the Supreme Court in the next 2 weeks. So the minute that they confirm Barrett, please understand that there's going to be a lot of shit. Barr is probably got some fuck shit going on that's going to make votes disappear. Like, please understand that this is going to be a fight. They know, and they are very aware that the sentiment is turning on them right now, and they are going to do everything they can to keep this country in their power. So do not expect a result election night. Stay informed, stay tuned. If you want some people to follow, let me give you some good election news people that I follow. Daily Chaos is one. That is Daily KOS. Joshua A. Douglas with one S, Douglas. He is a constitutional law professor at the University of Kentucky. And then Stephen Wolf at Politics Wolf. Those are three people who have been very, very good at keeping us up to date on what is going on in this country as far as voting rights, as far as cases, as far as Supreme Court. They are very, very informative. If you need some people to follow to get away from the big mainstream news sites, follow one of those three. Like, dead serious. And if you want to know what they are, hit me up on Twitter and I will happily at them for you. But please do not expect, even if they say Biden by a landslide on election night, do wait until the election results are certified. Wait. Don't celebrate. Don't get down on yourselves. Wait, because they knew the fix was in last time when they blocked when they blocked Garland from the Supreme Court. They knew the fix was in. So they may know something we don't again. So please get out the vote. Do whatever you can to help people get vote. Do not spread misinformation and do not fall for the okie doke on election night.
I think that's a great note to end on.
All right, we out. 1.
I was prepared this time.